Howdy, Disco Citizens. I am
Hi.
Julia Marchese.
Oh my goodness, and I'm Terry Gamble. Oh my goodness, Julia, I'm so excited.
Welcome to Horror X, a collaboration between the George A. Romero Foundation and our podcast, Horror Movie Survival Guide.
Yes, Horror X explores the femmes who help make fright films fantastigorical and palavers with them about their experiences in film and horror.
Today, we are having a conversation with Xero Gravity, a media personality and genre journalist with a focus on diversity and inclusion in horror, sci-fi, and dark fantasy. She curates and hosts nerdy fundraisers, events, screenings, and dance parties.
Heck yeah, that's right. Get it on. When she's not on her feet or behind the mic, you can find her online for killer movie reviews, podcasts, live streams, and commentary. In 2021, she was noted by Jordan Peele's Monkeypaw Productions as one of the internet's top black horror creators to get to know. That's right. And since then has worked freelance for organizations like Fangoria Magazine, Dread Central, BET, Shudder, and one of my favorite publications, Afropunk.
And she's also a host on Blurry Massacre. And please check out our interviews that we did with Shuri John Bohannon, that we did her co-host. And welcome to Horror X Zero Gravity. Woo
Oh
woo.
my
Woo!
gosh. It finally happened. My dreams are coming true. You're here with us today. Despite the internet gods trying to mess with us today, I'm so happy you're
They
here.
tried. They tried and they failed.
They could not succeed. Oh my goodness. Yes. Welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. Oh my
Thanks for
gosh.
having me. I'm super excited.
Well, we always start at the very beginning, which is your origin into horror. Where did it all begin?
I love telling this story. It's a little embarrassing, but it gets easier and easier every time.
Oh,
Um, I
so
think in like
therapy
the great
session is in.
the doctor is in. Let me lay down on the couch real quick. Let me put my feet up because this is a tale. Um, since getting into the horror community, I've learned that I actually got into horror a little bit later than some of my peers. I'm not one of those fantastic individuals that's like, yeah, my mom took me to see The Exorcist when I was 4, and I've been here ever since. I was a big scaredy cat growing up, and now through media and criticism and commentary and stuff, I think I can point that back to 9/11 and how that affected me as a child. But I had just irrational fear of everything, and it was awful. It like took over my life, and I got to be around 13, 14, definitely middle school age. And I got kind of sick of it, and because it was ruining my life, low key. I would have these stupid irrational fears, like, if the landline were to ring, I couldn't pick it up because I would never know who's on the other end of the line. Pizza
Hello.
delivery guy, I was like running away from the door because I don't know. It was I had no reason. I was just scared of everything. And I drew the line, me, my 13-year-old self, I drew the line when I developed this irrational fear of like public automatic flushing toilets. I
Mhm.
don't know what I thought was gonna happen, like I was gonna get sucked in or something. I had no idea, but it got to the point where I would just not pee in public. And then I said to myself, okay, girl, like you can't keep living like this. You gotta do something about
Oh
it. So
no.
middle school logic me was like what we now call exposure therapy. Um, and I'm a 90s kid, so I grew up in the early 2000s when the internet was a lot less regulated than it is now, and I had access to some crazy stuff. And I don't know if it worked. Maybe I just learned that I'm a little messed up, but in the process, I found something that I weirdly found healing and also something that I cared about, and it was a good source of expression. And I've been here ever since.
The catharsis of horror. Yes. Yes.
And what was some of the first movies that really made an impact on you that you can remember?
My first horror movie was Jaws, and this was a little bit before my horror awakening.
Mhm.
But I remember watching Jaws. Definitely too young. I was probably around 8 or 9, and I was at a sleepover. It's a pretty classic story. Justine Hecker and her dad came up from the basement and thought it was funny. He was like, "You girls ever seen Jaws?" And we're like, "No."
Oh my goodness, did dad know what he wrought?
He knew, and it traumatized me. Not the shark, because that was later on, and I could tell it wasn't exactly realistic, but it
What?
was
Bruce didn't.
Mr. No, it wasn't Bruce for me. But it was Mr. What's his face's like head when they go out looking for him, and then his like severed
Mm.
head pops out of the bottom of the boat. Oh my god, I didn't sleep for like 2 days. 2 days. And that tagline was crazy. Like to see it before you go swimming. I remember my dad telling me how impactful that was on him.
Hmm.
But for me, it was Disturbia. That
Oh,
tagline had an impact on me because I remember the ads being on TV, and the tagline was every killer lives next to someone. And I was like, oh my God,
That's
it's
true.
true.
yeah.
That's real. Yeah, those two are burned into my brain. And somehow I found joy. I don't know how I got here, but here I am.
We always read the taglines before for every movie that we review on Horror Movie Survival Guide because I feel like it says a lot about a movie, and I think sometimes they're very clearly not. There's no inspiration behind it, so they're very generic.
Hmm.
Sometimes they're really great, and sometimes they're specific like that. Like, okay, now the tagline has traumatized someone. Whoever came up with that tagline for Disturbia,
We're
well done.
in.
Yes.
We're
They didn't even
in.
Years
know.
later, and I'm still watching my six. Like,
Do you know your neighbors? Do you know who your neighbors are? Like that's real. That's real,
it's
real.
real.
As the times keep going, my goodness. So what? I guess the journey you start here, getting into horror, but what brought you to horror criticism from there?
It was the pandemic. I had a career in kind of this public facing nerdy world since maybe 2012. Once I got my start at New York Comic Con, that's when I realized that there was a central hub for nerds to network and also be professional and be adults and not just the stupid stuff that we chat about at the lunch table, in between classes, that kind of stuff. Um, and I kind of had my start in comics and community. I got a little bit more professional in the world of esports. I was playing a lot of video games. I did a lot of cool projects there. And then the pandemic hit, which maybe is not, I don't know. It was a very strange time. Y'all were there, but a little bit of a blessing in disguise because that's when I really realized that I didn't have to appeal to the masses because I thought I was just lucky to be in a professional creative or a nerdy community period because
Hmm.
how many of those communities can actually be profitable or have some sense of meaning when you put work to it. um, Maybe my parents didn't see it that way, but I made it here, so I guess this is where I'll stay. And I was kind of willing to do a lot of the things that maybe weren't my exact focus just because I was grateful for where I was. But then the pandemic hit and all those opportunities kind of went away for me. And we were all at home and doing what I wanted to do with my hours and hours and hours of unwanted free time, which was watching movies. And then I met Horror Movie Survival Guide and Girl That's Scary and all these other small entities that are just people that talk about what they love, and do it successfully and are able to find a sense of community, especially because I'm an aggressive extrovert. So like I was barely holding on during the pandemic, and that was my
Same.
outlet. And then I realized that this is a community of actors, of writers, of filmmakers, of critics that all have valid ways to express art and decompress a little bit and are as kooky as I am. So once I realized that, I said, okay, let's go for it. So I started doing that during the pandemic and made some of my closest friends like Sheree, who's my co-host on Blurdy, and been able to do some awesome stuff together. And now I feel very grateful because I never have to lie. I never have to lie or play 17 hours of Fortnite just because I think this is as good as I can get. I
Yep.
can I can dive into something that's a little bit more my speed. Actually, a lot of it, fully, all the way.
I love that. And you all really go in on your show too. You just eviscerate, get into it, eat it
Yeah, are
all
we
up.
mean? We're
Like
so mean.
Are you mean?
they're if we're gonna yin yang Julia, I feel like it's like a yin yang to us because like Julia's like aggressively like I respect the filmmakers. I want to make sure it's like good, and I love that you always want to say something nice, which we can say something nice about everything, but at Blurty they go in, they go in for sure. And we got to go in. I got to be on their season opener this last year, which was an honor and a privilege because I was in the middle of my darkest days and we got to talk about the worst movies of 2024.
Yeah, and that's
What
our most that's our like recurringly speaking, that is our most brutal episode. The bottom tens of every, it's nothing but hateration. It's great.
what were some of the names on your list this year?
Oh man. Some of the names on our list, definitely like the front room. Brandy girl, as long as the check cleared. As long as the
Mm.
check cleared, I'm happy. The Deliverance, such a disappointment because we're never going to get that cast of superstars together in the same room ever again.
Julia saw The
God,
Deliverance. I brought that to movie night. And so that was a nappy pussy, Julia. Do you not remember? Julia's like, yeah,
I could smell
Glenn
it.
Close.
That
Glenn
was
Mhm.
Close.
crazy. Sheree and I
Glenn
Mhm.
have an
Close.
inside joke now where wherever like something socially awkward happens, we like speak in code. We'll look at each other and just go, that was close.
I love best friend code. That's the best.
Isn't it?
Oh, honey. Oh, honey. That was, yeah, beautiful work. Beautiful,
So when are
beautiful.
you going to transition into making some movies?
Hopefully soon. I have a
Yeah.
couple scripts that I'm working on. Um, yeah, something
Uh-huh.
small and something
Something's in the
light.
hopper.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Something's in the hopper. I'm trying to soak up as much information as I can so I can feel confident in order to get it going. But hopefully
Honey, go
soon.
forth. Go forth. The lack of skill out there is it's fine. You will learn
Just
on the
jump.
job. You will
I
learn
just
on the
jump.
job. And you've already watched so much, and I know you have such a great eye already. Like whatever you're gonna do, even if it's not
Oh,
to what you
thank
want
you.
yet, you will get there. You will make it happen. You will make it happen.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us more. I guess we were talking earlier about VHS. I just wanted to bring this back because this was happening before we started recording, and I made them stop talking, everybody, because it's important about VHS. And you were at Salem presenting some things. So can you talk about the Salem Horror Fest or what you were doing there?
Yes, Salem Horror Fest, which is now run by a group called the Horror Arts Collective. They are a group of the previous volunteers and staff from Salem Horror Fest. And once Kay stepped down last year, they stepped up in order to keep the community alive. And this was my third year as Master of Ceremony, so I get a nice trip to Salem every year, and I get to watch some really, really awesome grassroots community oriented movies. It's a very safe community up there. I feel very grateful. I've never I'm born and raised in New York City, and for some reason I've never been to Salem, Massachusetts. I don't know. It's like right there. But then I had this
It's a short
opportunity.
train ride. Yeah,
It
it's not that
is. I don't know
far.
why I never
Yeah,
did it, but now I had
yeah.
the perfect reason to go. And everybody wants to go to Salem during the season, but it's expensive and it's crowded and you have to make reservations 32 years in advance and stuff. But it is true what they say, like Salem is Halloween year round, so it really doesn't
Yes,
matter when you visit. So
yes.
going to have a small vacation in that area during the horror festival is just perfect. And so yeah, I get to introduce a bunch of cool movies and then run their Q&As after. I talk with some filmmakers and a bunch of cool community events too. We brought Blurdy up there once to do a live podcast after watching Tales from the Crypt Demon Night. I got to speak with Professor Tanana Reeve Dew this year, which was an
Love
Nice.
absolute
her.
dream. She did the keynote speech. We
Oh,
did a brief conversation after, and that was such like a bucket list moment. But I
she's
am
the
Yeah.
working,
best.
so I'm kind of glued to the stage. I'm not complaining at
No,
all because I
no.
get to see some
Yeah.
really cool stuff. But
Yeah, she's
they
been on
also
Horror
do
Movie
like
Survival Guide before. We love her so much. Big
she's the
fans, big fans.
best.
She's one of the nicest people. And she does that Friday arts talks that she has. If you're on her mailing list or friends with her, and if you aren't already going to that or hopping in on that sometimes, did you know about the Zero? Because
No,
she talks about like the whole filmmaking process from like the writing perspective and all that stuff too. So the stuff you're talking about, gleaning information. Shirley has this thing called Fireside Chats with her and her husband Stephen Barnes. Um,
yeah,
hop on. I will send you the links if you remind me. I will make sure to send
yes.
you. But she does a Zoom chat, and so it's literally talking shop and with like upcoming and aspiring filmmakers and writers and all that stuff too.
Oh, that's
And so if
great.
there's something that you're incubating or thinking about, she's like great at giving advice about that. Uh huh. Yes, she can help
Hmm.
mentor you if you had that great conversation connection. She's incredible. So, anywho,
I'm writing that
shout out to
down.
Tenerife and check out her
Yes.
Yes,
fireside
and
chats
please,
and get on her mailing list because she has another book coming out right now too. So as all I feel like
Hmm.
always.
yes, and
So
please go find our interview that we did with her for Horror Movie Survivor Guide as well.
yeah,
That's on our show. And also, I Salem, my short I Know What You Need played in 2024 there, and so I got to like be in the midst of it. And the GARF, they helped to fund my short, so that's something that like it's a personal thing, and I know that they're invested with the Salem Horror Fest, which I think is really really cool. They're out there trying to make films happen, which I think is great.
Always. I do have the pleasure of introducing the feature films that are paired up, like the mentor program from
Mhm.
GARF, and they always slap. Those are always my favorite films of the festival. They have heart. I did meet Sue last year, and
Yeah.
she's wonderful. And it's real punk rock stuff, and all of the art that comes out of that partnership is just really really fun. And I'm grateful to have the opportunity to speak with the filmmakers afterwards, also. But on a selfish note, I do spend money because when in Salem, you go trinket shopping,
oh
and
yeah,
this
you
is
gotta
my most
shop.
recent VHS purchase
Oh my
that I got
god.
at Salem.
I didn't know it was
Is
on
that
It's
up
VHS. I
close?
need it.
it is a VHS copy
It's so
of
beautiful. Open it, please.
George Romero's The Amusement Park, and this is officially licensed. Okay, shout out to Broke Horror fan Alex DiVincenzo.
Yeah.
That's incredible to have that on VHS.
There it
Yes.
is.
Julia, that's like a grail item right now. I'm just
So
looking at it for
beautiful.
you.
You know what I want for
Coveting over
Christmas?
here. Yeah, I got you. I'm already like cataloged. That's incredible, Zero. What did you think about that film? Have you seen it on the big screen or any of the big screenings of it?
I haven't seen it on a big screen. I did watch it on Shudder. I haven't watched it on my TV VCR yet, but I do need to get that feel. But really heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Really heavy stuff. Not exactly my genre of scary movie, but I feel like I needed to have this in my collection just because I don't know. It means something. It means a lot. It
Yeah.
means a lot. And it's,
'Cause
not a lot disturbs me, but this kind of disturbs me.
As
I
you
guess
get
that
older,
makes
it will
it.
disturb you even more.
yeah.
Oh God. Okay.
Congratulations. Keep
And we're talking
living, young
about like
one. Keep
l-
living.
like lines that haunt you is like the end of that movie is
Hmm.
like one day you too will be old and you're like
Oh shit.
like
Oh
it's
shit.
horror in a different kind of way. And I'm still so amazed that it's not ageism is still not really talked about.
Hmm.
And this is really the most specific I can think of that like really, really deals like what are you doing? How do you view the elders? Like, and I think that's so
Right.
amazing.
It's got a call
Hmm.
to action versus just like I
Yeah.
feel like there's plenty of movies that like kind of make fun of like crones or like old
Yeah.
witches or whatever and stuff like that or like have that kind of conversation but they don't really accuse you the viewer. You know what I mean though of like hey how are you contributing to this and what else can you do. So I do love how hard it goes. um I want to know more about your life, Zero. I want to know more about your favorite creators, collaborators, like things that you are excited about in the horror space.
Okay, well, I can tell you something that I'm really, really excited about. When is this episode coming out, guys?
Uh,
Ooh, May end of this month, last
it's
Friday,
coming
last Thursday of this month.
Oh,
today.
beautiful.
Today.
Hmm.
So, I had probably the best experience of my life last summer, with Fangoria Magazine. The editor in chief, Phil, gave me a call and he said, I want to pitch you something. And I said, okay, let's hear it. And because a great part of Fangoria is learning about set, what happens on set, the
Yeah,
Mhm.
the BTS, the backstage of it all.
yeah,
And um, Phil and I's friendship is kind of based off of Romero zombies. Like that's how we bonded.
that sounds right.
Um, Zombies are just like my subgenre, man. Like that's what got me into fandom, like in general. That's what brought me to New York Comic Con for the first time. Back when The Walking Dead had a chokehold on New York Comic Con, and that was like the
Yep,
only thing that you could find there.
yep.
And I thought I was the coolest chick on the block because I would read the comics. And so I
You were
know
ahead of the
who
game. You knew
I
what
was
was
ahead of the
happening.
game, right?
Yes.
it was a little bit of like, it's nerd elitism. Like, I know what's going to happen before you know what's going to happen. And I knew all about Michonne's character. And that was back in the time where the New York Comic Con that Sunday would always fall on the beginning of the new season of The Walking Dead. So Michonne was about to drop. And I decided to cosplay as her at the convention. And I found all these other nerds. So if you know who Michonne is at this point, that means you read the comics, so we can have a conversation. And that's where my love of zombies spawned. And then I got into horror even a little bit more. And then I discovered like the range of zombies. Then that's when I became a zombie purist, right? Because for me, there is a hierarchy, and the slow zombies will always remain supreme, which we can thank George A. Romero for. And that was a rabbit hole. Woo, that was a rabbit hole. So that's what Phil and I bonded on. And so he gave me a call and he said, hey, Tina Romero she's gonna make this movie. And I was wondering if we could send you to set to take a look around. Craziest thing ever, because I love the Deads so much. They mean a lot to me as a marginalized person. Just because I'm preaching to the choir. I know I don't have to tell you guys, but just the cultural commentary that comes with each one, even if, some of it doesn't age gracefully, you can see how punk rock it is and what he was trying to say about our fears and what's effed up with society at that time. And like, not everyone's willing to do that, especially like a name. So Romero, like he tackled a lot of it. But the one thing that he was missing was the queer angle, right? Obviously I don't know. I don't know the man's life, but I don't know if he had like brothers and sisters and queens and dolls are all around him for this exposure of life. But he does have a daughter who is a queer DJ in Bushwick, over here in Brooklyn. And she's taking the reins on the whole Romero zombie chapter and is making her own Romero zombie movie, and they will be slow. And so they sent me to the set to go check it out, and it was an amazing experience. This was last summer in Jersey. They filmed it, and
that's so cool, Xero.
it was the
they had not
best.
told us this. This was an accident that you're on the show right now. This
Oh,
is, like,
good! I'm so glad to break it to
we
you,
did
though.
not know this connection. I love. Sometimes, anyway, Romero brings us all together in different ways. This is incredible.
Yes,
I love this.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And it's going to come out. The world premiere is on the 7th here in New York at Tribeca.
Oh,
and
it's coming up. Yeah.
It's coming up, yeah. And just keep an eye out. You should definitely see the film wherever it drops, when it does drop. I hope it does get a theatrical run, because we all know that zombies deserve to be on a big screen.
Yeah.
But there is a zombie in there that might look really familiar. I'm just saying.
It's you.
No way.
It could be.
Shut it. They
Tell us about the
They
makeup.
made you a zombie. They made you a zombie. You can't. Xero can't tell us anything. But also,
I want to know.
No, we'll bother you later. Okay.
That's as much as I can tell you now.
I
but
lost my seat right now. I'm just like
That's all I got for you now. I can't get myself in
you're
trouble.
Such a hot zombie already. I could already see it.
Oh, it was the hottest I've ever been in my life. Are you kidding?
Julia sent me a picture. She was on set last summer with our friend Jim Ojala. We just covered his movie Strange Nature on our podcast, and she was like literally a dead person. She sent me a photo. I was like, "You look so hot. I'm so sorry. This is the hottest you've ever been." As a dead ass bitch. She looks so good.
Yeah, I got to have like the wound effect. I got to be like I got to be the serial killer victim they found dead in the park. I got to be that, which was very exciting.
Is that not like all of our dreams?
Yes.
So hot. Like, I was just like, make me dead. It's so good.
That's why everybody's hot for all the Tim Burton characters, right? Because they look dead. They're alive, but they're dead. And you're like, well, kind of into that, right?
It's a look. It's cunty.
Even Jack, it is, and even Jack Skellington is dead but dead, and I'm still like, yeah, what smash?
Hot. Absolutely hot. Oh. Like, what's her Cole and Lisa Frankenstein? I'm just thinking about him. He looks so good hot. Like, he looks so good dead. I was like
dead.
You never look better, dude. Never looked better than.
And even better, on top of that, they don't talk. Anyway, that was mean. See? I told you, we're mean.
Zing! So speaking of Bloody Massacre, tell us how that all came about.
It's one of my favorite stories. You have to share it.
Gaslighting.
Yes.
Bullying.
Yes. Sheree just pushing.
Yeah, she was just pushing. I mean, I still am generally new to the podcast game. I listened to a lot of podcasts during the pandemic, and like I mentioned before, that's how I met parasocial relationships. But now we're friends. But that's how
Yes.
I met all these people in this community and formed friendships with them. YouTube live hangouts were great. Clubhouse was great. And so I
Mhm.
formed relationships with all these awesome people. They would invite me on their shows and their YouTube lives, and we would just cackle for hours. And then Sheree is the one who sniffed out, like, I don't think this chick actually has her own podcast. She's just on everyone else's podcast.
You were
And
just
she pulled up on
guessing,
me. She
which
was
is
just like, what are you
crazy.
doing? What's wrong with you? Like, you have the microphone on the table and you're just giving it out for free to everybody else. Like, you don't want nothing of your own. And I was like, yeah, well, I guess if you put it that way. And then so we started a podcast, and we're in our 4th season right now, and it's awesome.
Woo!
I
That's so
love that so
cool.
much. When your friend is like, you,
You need the friends that will hold you accountable.
plucked
Like,
from
girl, you're
obscurity.
wasting time. What are
And
you
Julia did
doing?
that for me a little bit too, because I started as a producer on this show, but then when we needed a new host, she's like, "You're the host." I was like, "No, we'll get another one for you." And she's like, "No, it's you." And I was like, "No, we get
Mm-hmm.
another one for you." And she's like, "No, it's you now." And I said, "Okay." And
It's the joy of, because Terry, before I corrupted her with horror, right? She hadn't really, she saw Poltergeist too young, freaked her out, wasn't interested.
yeah,
And then come around here, and I'm like, well, we got to watch Hellraiser and see what you think. And then from here on out, she is, there was a hidden horror hound inside she didn't even know about. They didn't even know about.
it happens to the best of us. Sometimes you don't know how dark you are inside because everyone calls you sunshine, and the
True.
sunshine also has a lot of dark spots.
Hmm. And now they've
Yeah,
watched hundreds and hundreds of horror movies,
so
have a
many.
Bride of Frankenstein tattoo. Like it's more
I
than
do,
skin
I
deep
do, I
now.
do, I do, I do, I
Show her,
do.
show her off.
Show the
Oh,
class.
sorry. Hold on. It's like
Yeah,
the thing
what,
doesn't want.
what?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. We're getting
We love
horny
us a
in this
Bride of
room.
Frankenstein.
We'll see. Yeah, she's the best. Oops,
Terry, you're the.
I'm a mess.
So what is about horror, Zero, that you would say intrigues you?
Um, I think I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie. I love the feeling of being scared. Um, I I think I'm pretty scared, like in general. Like I think I get scared pretty easily. Some people in my circle would tell me otherwise, but I don't know. I feel like I get scared easily. But I like walking into these situations because I like that little, I don't know, when something happens, you get scared and then like your stomach kind of gets like cold for a second and like drops a couple inches. Like
Yeah,
for some reason, that's what I'm chasing.
I say it's like
And
a roller coaster
you
because
want
it's
to
the
ride
same
that
kind of
yes,
high. You want to
adrenaline.
ride
It's
that
a
high.
yeah, it's a
it's
fun ride, but
because I'm
you can
scared.
get off at the end and it's safe.
Yes, I'll be all right. That's what I think originally stuck me with the genre. But then when I started watching more and more of it, and then I was able to make parallels and stuff, I really appreciated and still appreciate the window that horror is, because I
Mhm.
don't think I now broaden it to just genre films in general, but I'm a little bit of a morbid bitch, so it's horror for me. But with genre media in general, it's a really great mirror to look at where society is without being super blatant about it. And sometimes history is kind of hard to digest, right? So I could read a textbook and read about what our fears were as a society at that time and what was happening in the world, and that impact on the human race. What was that like? Or I could pick that decade or shortly after something happened, and I could look at the media of that time and kind of get a similar window without having to be too blatant. And I think that's really neat. And I don't think you really find that in like rom-coms and like dramas, I don't think so. And so with that, you can watch horror and just genre cinema in general in like two different ways, which is like, one, I could watch Night of the Living Dead because I want to see this guy like survive against zombies and beat him up and set him on fire and stuff. or I can watch this, movie that is about civil rights, and that's kind of up to me. I can decide, and I like that.
And
I
it's
like that.
both at the same time, which is
Yep.
the
Yes.
glory of it, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think what you were saying earlier is like you spent so much time as a kid being scared of things, like even if they're irrational things. And I think that's a big part of what Terry and I do on Horror Movie Survival Guide, because the whole idea was like, if we watch enough horror movies, we ourselves will learn how to survive in a situation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
this like this feeling of being prepared for any situation that could come your way and be like, I saw that in Child's Play 3. I know what to do. Like
Yes.
that you're hoping you have this like wealth of knowledge to fall back on. So I think it's like a
Mm-hmm.
survivalist kind of free, like I think it's a lot of same why people listen to true crime is that same kind of thing of like,
Totally.
no, now you it's a level of preparedness that you feel like you have in an out of control world, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree.
Making sense of the world.
When
Yeah.
there is none.
Nope.
but
Yeah.
Nope.
but
Especially right now. Sorry, as it gets weirder, I'm just like, wow, we watched all these movies, Julia. Did we think it would be like this though? Like it feels like stupid apocalypse. It's so lame. I'm so sorry. It's like I hate it. I love it. I love
you know, idiocracy, we're all there.
We're
But
doing
clearly
great. We're
you
doing
must
great.
be a gore hound if you like zombies, because zombies and gore kind of
Yes.
go hand in hand. Is that are you would you say that you're a gore hound? Do you look at gore with a sense of beauty, of looking at it as a creation?
Totally. I love the nasty stuff, the sticky, icky, ooey gooey. I love the stuff that's real. I love the stuff
Mhm.
that's made up, like aliens or whatever, has nothing to do with human flesh. It's something different. Um, Anything that I can't walk out on the street and see with my own two eyes. I'm not turning on the news, because who's doing that today? No one's turning. No, I need to protect
Asking
my peace.
asking for pain, man. That's all
Yeah,
that is.
no, I would rather protect myself with my little hub of escapism with the genre. But I love the gore. I love the nasty stuff. When I first started getting into horror, I didn't know where to look really. And like I said before, the internet was a lot more unfiltered than it is
Yep.
today
Yep.
in like 2007 or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And
It was
so a
a
lot of
different
those
time.
were, it was a different time. Definitely built up a personality there, but I was watching stuff that I was not supposed to be watching as a youth.
Ooh.
Some of it like real stuff, and I kind of, oh my god, this makes me
What
sound
scarred
so
you?
bad.
What scarred you? What was that? I just saw something go across
Um,
your eyes right now.
I think it was the fact that not a lot of it scarred me. But like
Mm.
my beloved rotten.com was kind of, I was a little bit addicted to that kind of boundary pushing stuff.
So it's
Mhm.
like faces
Um,
of death type stuff.
oh, I love Faces of Death. You can see
Okay.
me in that documentary coming up too. Love
Oh,
that one.
I can't do it. That was always
Is
for
it
me. It was like
real?
I
Is
was
it
like
not?
fake death,
Woo!
good stuff. Bad real death. Mm-mm.
Julie, you
Mm-mm.
know
I
what?
just was kind of pushing the envelope and see
Yeah.
what I could handle. And then that made me
Mhm.
feel like, okay, like actually what you said, it's the horror movie survival guide. If I know exactly what to do if I'm not going to give an example, but I was watching some really fucked up shit. And like, yes.
So now
Now
you
I
know how to
like a little bit
survive
more
something really
substance.
terrible. Got it. Got it.
Yes.
Got it. Oof. So on that in that vein, what's the scariest movie you think that you've seen, or what is the scariest, I guess for you? Because I think it is relative what's scary for people. And as you said,
Mm.
you are not easily scared anymore. It sounds like you've been pushed to the edges. Um, but what would you, I guess, what's scary for you? And then maybe what's a scary one you would recommend to somebody?
Um, Man, I feel like I think everything was scary, but then the movie will end and my homegirl will look at me and she'll be like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "That was scary, right?" Like you watched the whole thing, and she was like, "No, I was sitting here like this." Um, but I think in a weird way, s- actually I have been very disturbed recently. I've been very disturbed by a couple things. The first thing that really disturbed me was Red Rooms that came
Oh.
out last year. That one was really messed up, and that had me thinking for a very long time. And
Okay.
that's more because it's, as a consumer, I enjoy the out of this world type stuff, but that was very grounded in reality, and it
I
was
don't know
kind
Red
of
Rooms.
real.
Who's Red Rooms? Who did that one?
Red Rooms is it's a French Canadian filmmaker. He's like the
Okay.
cutest guy ever.
Of
And
course.
he wanted to make this movie as commentary about, how every couple years they'll make like a Dahmer freaking biopic on Netflix, and then they cast
Yeah.
the cute guy from Sabrina, and now
So
everyone's
hot.
in love.
Yeah.
And it's really like not appropriate because like there's families of victims that are like have
Yeah.
Netflix accounts probably, and
Yeah.
now they got to get all re-traumatized and shit.
Yeah.
So he wanted to make commentary about that, about these weird fan club and how these people are so okay with doing
Mm.
mental gymnastics to justify these things. But he didn't want to do it again, so he made up something else,
Got
like
it.
a new court case to describe this weird,
Mm-hmm.
very disturbing, messed up phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's real, and there's no violence, there's no gore in the movie, but I would still consider it to be extreme cinema because it is super boundary pushing and kind of makes you want to take a step back and check your online empathy for a second, because I think we all have to do that sometimes. And that was scary. I was like, "Ooh, let me check on my footprint," because
Yeah.
I don't know, we need to be careful about our ethics. It's really the real life stuff that scares me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I monsters all day. Show me the zombies. Show me
Right.
the ocean lake amphibious half human monster. Like I'll eat that stuff for breakfast. But then it's like real life violence.
Shape of water, baby. Let's make out.
Yeah, let's
Yes.
make out. I'm a monster
Fish
fucker. I
man.
mean,
Fish
like I got the badge
Rah,
of honor.
rah, rah, rah,
Um, Chime was another one that really scared me.
What about that
Kiyoshi
scared you?
Kurosawa's the
Mhm.
real life of it all. It's this was a short film, and I think it's like 45 minutes long. It's if you've seen Cure, it's kind of got that same feel.
Mhm.
It's long and it drags and it's kind of annoying to the eyes, but like on purpose, like to give you as the viewer like fatigue. And it's kind of about like the horrors of being stuck in the mundane, like for all these poor people that don't have a really wicked hobby, like talking about horror movies online and getting recognition for it, who are just stuck in their 9 to 5 like cubicle and like don't really live for much. And how that could
Sounds like
drive somebody
Severance.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, like Severance, but with a lot more blood and physical violence and just the what humans are capable of when mental gets a little bit cloudy, because health is health, you know. um Very scary. Oh my god, all of this is like so depressing. Everything else is like it's a blast. Like, did you hear about this monster?
So it sounds like okay. So reality is what scares you the most. I love this. This is what I've
Yeah,
learned today.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, in
Well.
the beginning of my like horror career, I got a gig with it was actually with an esports channel because I was trying to get out of esports, and they were having like a Halloween episode, so they asked me to come on their Halloween episode. And with the host in the beginning, it was like trivia, and they were like getting to know the contestants, and they asked me like, what are you scared of? And I know they wanted me to be like ghosts, like I'm so
Mhm.
scared of ghosts, but I said
Mhm.
something stupid like human trafficking, and it just like completely, that was before like my
Change the
diet
mood,
media training. It
but
was, yeah, it totally messed up
brilliant.
the vibe.
But that's absolutely brilliant. But I love that. I'm sure the vibes are so off after that, but I love that.
It was like,
That's
who
what's really
invited this chick?
scary.
But yeah,
That's
and
what
that's what we're talking about the amusement park. Like, what's scary? Getting older, getting everything taken away from you. These are the real
That's
fears
I
everybody
just
scary.
had
can.
my mammogram last week and a pap smear. So I was like, wow. And then they're like, do you want to do your colon check? And I was like,
The horrors.
Yeah. Human
no, I
bodies.
do
My
not.
goodness.
But I'm of the age where they make you just do it. They just send you the kit without even asking you. They're like, you need to check your colon. I was like, thank you.
TMI,
Thank
Terry.
you.
TMI.
No,
I love it. I
but
love it.
hey, this is hey, not team. This is what it means to get old, Julia. This is the amusement park. You should be embracing colon health.
This is how
No,
we survive. Hey.
I try not to think about human bodies as much as I possibly can.
I know, but that's part of it. That's we got to think. That's we got to think about the body because that's what part of what age is. That's the part you don't like. Got to look at
Mhm.
that.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry,
well,
kids.
you, Zero, have been in many different kinds of fandom. We talked about comics, talked about esports. So what do you love about the horror community specifically?
I think maybe I'm a little biased, but I just think that the source material that we surround ourselves with is a lot more dense with material. It's context heavy, it's subtext heavy. There's layers. Like there's just layers all over this shit. I can't see as much of that from creator to consumer in other fandoms. And I don't think that that makes them worse. I think that that just makes them different. Like, people are connected to different fandoms for different reasons
Mm-hmm.
because it provides them with something. And I think that horror attracts, if you stay off Facebook and maybe some of those weird dark corners. But I think in general, like, horror attracts really smart and interesting people that are used to looking at bad things in the world differently. And I think that's how we're able to protect ourselves. But also, some of these people are hilarious because the stuff that we laugh at is so fucked up. The stuff that we choose to enjoy is so fucked up. I don't know. I think that people are most unique here and provide perspectives that maybe there aren't as many in other fandoms, especially because this type of art is so subjective. You can get a lot of different angles, like, I don't remember the movie that I was talking about, but I remember having a conversation recently and about a movie, and I was talking about the same movie with somebody who's a veteran. And I'm not a veteran. I don't come from a military family. I would have no idea how a veteran would digest this differently. And they were able to give me a new perspective that I never would have seen. And it's a little bit difficult for me to see an avenue of conversation and growth similar in something like esports. Like, it's discussion based. I'm also just not a competitive person, so that thing is not really for me.
I don't believe
um
that. I feel like you're a fighter. I feel like you're a winner. I
oh,
feel like,
I'm a
see,
fighter, but
I feel like that's
I
in
don't want
there
to
and
fight
different,
with you.
different type of competition. But you like the analysis portion of it, which I love, and I love hearing you talk about that because I hadn't really thought about that. About like that's what makes horror so fun, from creators to everyone. And I think a part of it is in some sort of analysis of the genre and like really
Yeah,
interacting with it in a very critical way.
I
That
definitely
sparks
learned the
really
most
rich
here.
you sparks really rich conversation about human nature,
Hmm.
but also just about like society, all those different things that you're going to get along the way. Um,
And like
yeah.
you mentioned, a lot two people say the same movie, and yet they don't see the same movie. So that's kind of the
Hmm.
fascinating part about horror. And there's also you can go down the list of subgenres and subgenres within horror and how specific you want to get. Terry and I like to talk about lesbian vampires every year. We have a round for Pride Month. I'm like, this needs to be done, and this is great. And you can go down this rabbit hole real far down.
Oh
But it's
yeah.
this, which is great about it. But it just this kind of horror is generally thought of as one thing, but I think it's so many things. I think
Hmm.
that's kind of the beauty of it. If you had to recommend a horror movie to somebody who had never seen a horror movie before, like this is the first one they're going to watch, what do you think would be the entry you would recommend?
Oh my goodness.
What's the gateway drug for you? What do you like to recommend?
The gateway drug, baby, I am so far from the gate at
I
this
know.
point.
That's the
I'm
hardest thing though. But don't
so
people ask you
far.
sometimes, like, what do you recommend? This is like someone who's never watched a horror who's like, I would like to learn Zero.
and
What's
it
scary?
and it's different, right? Because you would recommend me a different movie that has the experience of horror behind me, like against somebody who has none.
Right. Yes. I think, let's see, a movie that I have recommended a lot recently is Fresh on Hulu. I
I don't know
That
it.
was
Tell us
my
about it.
Oh my god, that was my jam. It's starring Sebastian Stan, and
Mm,
it's got this commentary about dating fucking sucks today. And it's really hard, and it's really scary, and guys are weird. Guys can be really weird. And that's real, but also it takes a funny turn, which I don't want to give it away, but it's hilarious. It's the movie that I would present to the sleepover. And I have
ooh,
presented this movie to the sleepover with my girlfriends about 4 or 5 times now. It's scary. It's amazingly executed. It's hilarious. The performances are great. Sebastian Stan is just fine as hell. Like, it's got
yes.
everything. It's got gore. It's bloody. Yeah,
All right.
violence. Everything.
Adding it to the
Sold it.
list.
Yeah, I'm like literally typing it right now. Okay.
Excellent. We love
Done.
suggestions. So we have a monster ongoing list of things that people have suggested to us. So that's going on there. And
Incredible.
but a separate question though, and this does not have to be horror based. What is the last film you watched?
The last film I watched, I literally just finished it, was Best Wishes to All. It's going to be coming to Shudder soon.
Ooh.
Um, I think that if you're a fan of J horror, you should definitely give it a shot.
Yep.
It's J horror to the core. It's complicated, it's concepty. It's definitely not my favorite of the catalog. And then before that, last night I rewatched Barbarian, 5-star movie. Freaking love that movie.
Yes.
Hmm.
It was like
Hmm.
suggested to me on Tubi. I was like, oh, it must be fresh on Tubi again or something, or maybe they just want me to watch it again because it was like,
It's
I love that movie so much.
fabulous. I love this movie because we get to see a black girl who makes mistakes, but also the mistakes that she makes are not the type of mistakes that they're like realistic mistakes. You know, they're mistakes that have reason. That's not the kind of mistakes that just like you're in the theater and screaming at the screen like
Yeah.
don't do that. You
Yeah.
know, you kind of get it. She makes mistakes and they're
She's
definitely
not full
stupid
stupid.
mistakes.
She's not full
She's not
stupid.
full stupid and then, you know,
Mm-hmm.
she's able to persevere because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that representation because it kind of squashes my current beef with representation is now it's like flip-flopped and it's kind of full steam ahead, which is also counterintuitive. And it's also helping us unfortunately create like new stereotypes. So now there's like the strong black woman thing that's like your bestie is going to save you because she's morally correct all the time and can do everything right because she's a strong black
The sainthood
woman.
now, the sainthood of black women
Yes.
now.
Like, okay, guys,
Yeah.
like we do make mistakes. Like, that doesn't mean I can't handle my shit. I can, but like I'm entitled to the mistake. And also the movie's just crazy and it's
Yeah.
nasty and like what? Yeah.
Such a weirdo. It's such a great weirdo, and that turn in the middle, like I think that me and Julia both were like, "What?"
What?
when we
Yeah.
covered it. Like that was so delightful, and that just doesn't happen all the time to be
No, it
delighted
does not.
in the middle, right? Like so, just incredible. Cool.
Fresh.
So, one final question we have that we ask all of our lovely guests because this is on the George A. Romero network, on the GARF network, affectionately here on YouTube. We want to know, how has George A. Romero, I mean, they've talked a lot about it already today, but how has George A. Romero made an impact on your life?
George A. Romero has had an incredible impact on my life. I think that the reason I started to pick out commentary in general was because of the Dead series. Um, as a black person, Night of the Living Dead, it means it's there's not a price tag on it. It means an incredible amount to our entire community. Um, Personally, though, I'm a Dawn girl. Dawn of the Dead is my fave.
Ken
And
Foray.
Ken Foray, like he looks great. Like y'all seen him recently. He is
Yes.
Yeah.
aging
Still
like
looking great.
incredibly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fine ass grandpa. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yep.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah, and I think those are kind of like the stepping stones of well, horror at least, the stepping stones of like media literacy, which I do have my fears that media literacy is dying low key.
Oh yes. Oh
But
yeah.
you know,
Yeah. A
if
fast death right now.
uh,
It's
we're
painful.
so
It's
cooked.
so painful
Too
to
soon.
watch.
But you know, if I'm trying to explain something, like I know that I can always use the George A. Romero examples to get my point across because those are foundations and they're easy to digest and you can see how you can pull different things apart with the works of Romero. So, um yeah, the godfather
Yeah.
of
Evergreen.
zombies.
He
Evergreen.
is the
Oh,
maestro himself.
so good. Oh my gosh. Zero. Why are you so cool? Can you tell us that? That's like my bonus question.
Legit question.
Why am I so cool? Because I'm a daddy's girl, I think. My dad raised me this way.
I think we all are. So that's
Yeah.
kind of hilarious and wonderful.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Julia's dad started the NPR station in Las Vegas. So
What?
badass
That's
dad
so
there. Yeah.
sick.
And
And
like
his name Lamar. So,
so he's
you
like
know.
one of the
Come
coolest
on.
guys. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So yeah, we all have cool dads. I think that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, Terry's got the cool
Yes.
science teacher dad. I
Yeah, we
mean,
got it all. We got it all. Living the dream. Thank you so much again. Can you tell the people where they can find you? I want the plugs. This has been so great having you here. I don't know. I'm just grateful you're in the world. I'm grateful you're doing what you do. I'm grateful just across the board for you. So tell the kids where they
Oh,
can find
thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Y'all can find me all over the internet. I am chronically online. It is not yet a problem, but it might be someday. All of my handles are XG Horror. You can also find my website is xghorror.com. And I hyperlink all of my stuff so you can read all my writing and watch all my reviews over there. And you could also listen to my podcast. We drop new episodes on Tuesdays with my co host, Sheree the Slayer. And
Yes.
yeah, that's about it.
So good. Oh my God. Thank you again for joining us, Zero. Just an honor and a privilege to have you here.
Thank you for
Um,
having me.
Yes, and all you folks out there watching, you can listen to our podcast I have with Julia called Horror Movie Survival Guide. Anywhere you like to listen to podcasts, and you can hear Julia and I take a deep dive every week into a different horror film, and we dissect how you can stay alive and become the final girl or family or person or whatever whoever that ends in the movie if they make it.
We
We're
need a
gonna
horror
figure it
movie with a
out.
final dog. Have we had that yet? Where it's just like only the dog
Oh,
survives?
actually, Good Boy. That it's gonna
Hey,
come to Shutter soon, and
look
that's
at
one.
that.
It's
It's
all I
all
want.
pup.
That's all I want.
Hmm.
I
Excellent.
want to see
See,
Good Boy
ask and
make
you shall
it.
receive. I
Oh, that's
mean,
amazing.
you can also watch me, listen to me on my other podcast, The Losers Club, which is all about my adoration for Stephen King,
Oh
talking
yeah.
about all the nooks and crannies of his work, and also Jodorowsky, all about Alejandro Jodorowsky, talking about the nooks and crannies of his work.
Oh my God, so good. I love all these shows. Y'all are prolific here, here. And you can also check out the George A. Romero Foundation, The Reason We Are Here, which is dedicated to restoring Romero's work, including seldom seen pieces from earlier in his career, as well as keeping an archive and helping the next generation of young filmmakers. Thank you to everyone for watching today. We really appreciate you. Please do feel free to reach out to Julia or myself on the internet. We love to interact with you there. You can catch us on Horror Movie Survival Guide or all those places Julia just talked about. Oh my goodness.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so thank you so much, Zero. We will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Hoping your days and nights are fantastical. And
Fantastic Gorka.
scene.